Hello, everyone, and welcome to the In My World podcast, a father and son podcast by 20 Talk, where we get people on and talk about 3 mental health discoveries. Today, we have Banjo involved with the podcast. So tell us a little bit about your life and your experience in the music industry.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Hey.
My name is Banjo. I'm a musician. I perform under the stage name Banjo Lucia. I make pretty soppy, sad music. It's just me and my piano being pretty cut about all of the things that my exes did and, really feeding into the victim complex on that one. And somehow it's worked out quite lovely for me. And I just do my little gigs and I make my little sad music and I'm quite content with it all, really.
So most of it's based off relationships, or do you ever delve into any other areas?
I'd love to delve into some more areas in the future. I definitely get into feminism sometimes a bit.
Okay.
So you find it very therapeutic then for you?
I do.
It's a bit of a vent?
It's a complete safe space. I think it's one of the primary spaces I can kind of enter to figure out and flesh out an idea and a feeling that I have. It helps immensely.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, well, and we've had you on 20 Talk before with some of our interviews back in the naval store when we used to work out of a tin shed.
Yeah, we go way back.
And some of the interviews that we did do with you, performed very well. I remember when we held them, we did about a 20-minute interview and there was just so many gold nuggets. So to the people listening today, strap yourselves in because we're about to get into it. And
let's go mining.
Are we going to be, let's get into mining. Will we be talking about relationships today, or have you got other things that you're interested in as well with your mental health?
I've just grown up, Leighton. Like, I'm above that. I'm above that all now. I'm fully self-realised and massively independent. And I've got some other stuff to talk about for sure.
So we asked people the 3 nuggets. So we've had a little chat before. And Leighton, you've got them written down because I actually didn't have the right piece of paper in front of me. See how tidy we are? We're a
smooth operation here.
But at least you're honest. That's what we're all about.
So first one was exercise by luck, which was very interesting. Then we've got hacking through the undergrowth. Very good titles, by the way. And the last one is selfish about loving yourself first. So let's go for the first one. So exercise by luck.
Yeah. Well, basically, exercise by luck. I have always been a person that has railed against the advice of exercise to make yourself feel better. I think telling a depressed person to go for a run is cruel and terrible. I think it's cruel and I think it's unhelpful entirely. However, I was a depressed person for a second there and I reached a point where I was like, I'll do anything. I'm in pain enough to do pretty much anything. And my mum and I sat down and basically said, like, I've got a month to do everything I can, and then if not, I'm going to go and I'm going to get medication. I don't really want to, but that's that. And I went to the gym. I went to Gold's Gym for the first time. Massive place to start.
Wow.
With my friend who is like an athlete in multiple regards. I don't know why.
So there's no hiding there.
No, God, no. God, no. But I kind of just like entered it and approached it as a joke. My friend is really, really funny and really lovely. And I was like, oh, I don't even care. Like, no, I don't even care about being here. I'm just like going to get to the end of this month and I'm going to get medicated.
So what were you feeling like when you entered the gym? Were you kind of nervous?
I was terrified.
Or was it a bit of a joke to you?
I think it was a joke to me because I was terrified. I was like, this is not my space. I'm not comfortable here. So I have to pretend that I'm above it by being like, this is all just some sick game.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think you're so against, going to the gym and stepping into that space?
I think because I took the advice of whenever I heard someone say you should exercise, I heard you're not doing enough. And I was like, I do so much. And for some reason as a teenager, I just like dug my heels in on exercise. I was like, you can't make me. I work so hard. I'm trying to be good at everything and I can't be good at that too. And like I remember my mum being like, you should try surfing. And I looked at her like she was an idiot. And I was like, Mum, I don't want to be a pro surfer. And she was like, Banjo, you could just have a hobby. You could just genuinely have a hobby. I was like, no.
So you were like hoping that the medication thing would win out so you didn't have to do the exercise. Is
I'm
that
not
what
gonna
you're
lie to
saying?
you. I was like, this place blows. I don't belong here. Just make me happy with drugs. That's what I was really thinking.
Wait, I'm getting a call, guys. Someone's just called in from the show, and they've just asked Banjo, what do you bench press?
No, it's new. It's still new.
Is there anything on the bar yet?
Look. Those bars are heavier than I expected them to be.
I must say that's what I thought.
I'm definitely no pro. All the people at Gold's Gym still look at me and think, what is this form? This chick needs to get out of here. But I feel better in my brain, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, so walk us through that. What are you experiencing now that you've been going to the gym mentally?
I think the gym for me, it's like the first time that I've experienced exercise, and it hasn't been for the reason of wanting to look a different way. It's so funny because I'm not a pro at any of this, but I know that when I'm sad, especially, I become very, very disconnected from my physical experience. So I don't really I can't really handle looking in the mirror, not because I think I look bad, but because I'm like, who is that? I've never met her. And I'll watch my hands move, and I feel completely disconnected. And I think the act of making a decision with my brain, the brain that's doing all the thinking and having all the hard times, making a decision to go do a thing and it be hard, and then feeling sore the next day, and then feeling things just slightly differently, like sitting up and standing down and going upstairs. There's just the fact that my physical experience is changing because my brain has made a decision means that my brain and my body are existing in the same plane. And I hate to say it, I literally hate to say it, but I cannot recommend that feeling more.
So you're trying to tell us now
helps.
that you're a gym junkie?
No, none of that. None of that. I'm not.
To me, it sounds like, through this process, you've got more in touch with your body and that resilience that you've kind of built by putting yourself in that hard position is kind of paying off in a way.
Yeah, I think it's just this thing of reaching a physical edge, and for a mental reason is connecting my physical experience to my mental experience.
That's very good. So, Leighton, you've got an experience similar going on at yourself at the moment for you, haven't you?
Yeah, so for me, I just came out of a relationship last year, and coming into January and February period, I was just really filling the void.
A breakup will do it. A breakup will do it.
Quite significantly, and just not being the kind of person of integrity that I wanted to be, just, drinking and stuff like that. And for me, I decided to sign up to a boxing class in my local community just down the road. And I used to do boxing when I was 15 years old. And at that time of my life, I felt like I was in my purpose, and I was really driven, and I felt in touch with my body, and I felt confident. And picking up the boxing gloves again and signing up to a fight in October.
Oh my God, Leighton, huge.
So it's a sanctioned fight that I'll be
That's
doing
exciting.
in October, and I've given myself a bit of a goal. So it'll be 1,500 people watching me at Crown Casino for a charity event, boxing versus an executive. But for me, it's that challenge of putting yourself to the absolute limit, your body physically on the line, and you're releasing that adrenaline where you're literally fighting someone. For me, having a background in spearfishing and hunting, and when you're in that moment of fight or flight, and it's the fight experience, for me, that's when I most feel myself. Every single thing is kind of just disappears besides you and your opponent, or the fish, or whatever is in front of you. And for me, kind of reliving that 4 times a week is just incredible. So yeah, it's been a bit of a journey doing that.
What a weapon! I didn't know you were doing a fight. That's
I just started, so
there.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll get you some tickets.
Yeah, it's good I think if it doesn't become like a drain, like exercise. I've run for 20 years, and I find that sometimes I'm just literally forcing myself, and I don't feel any net gain, but sometimes you do. But there are other times where I think it's really good to feel that connection.
I feel like, putting yourself in a routine with a community can really help when you've got a personal trainer or a class, or, a a volleyball team. I also play volleyball, but when you have it kind of in a consistent routine, it makes it so much better. I don't know about you, but do you go by yourself or with people or?
I go with a friend sometimes, my funny, amazing athlete friend.
Mm-hmm.
And I have heaps of fun with her, but I've never been very good at alone time. So the gym has actually been a portal to that, the inverse of that for me, where it's time with myself, but it's not just like this intensive, like look at yourself in the mirror and say, who am I over and over again? Because I found that doesn't actually really work. Being able to just like have a mission and have a task and be there and do it and just be hanging out with myself and kind of letting the thoughts go on autopilot has been so nice. It's been so nice.
That's excellent.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people out there should, I guess, listen into this and get out there and
just go for a run, I guess.
It's that easy.
It's not easy. That's not what I'm saying.
Well, it's good coming from you that you were so against it to actually
I agree.
discover it for yourself. I think
and I think you do.
You have to get to that place yourself. You can't.
100%.
Well, that brings us to number 2 of our discoveries, and we have here hacking through the undergrowth. Do you want to explain a little bit about why you've decided on that chapter title?
Yeah, that's a shout out to my housemate who told me that metaphor today, and I immediately said I'm going to steal that and I'm going to make myself look better in this upcoming podcast experience. Basically, it's like this metaphor that life is hacking through I'm going to butcher this, but it's basically the idea that life is hacking through the undergrowth and that you are constantly just kind of hacking through the undergrowth, and that every now and then you get to come up and peek out and get your surroundings a little bit and maybe, change your direction based on what you see and take in the views and take a deep breath in, and then you dive back in and you hack through the undergrowth. And that's where so much of the joy is, and that no one actually really wants to spend all of their time just looking out at the trees and going, here I am. Here it is. I've made it finally. And so that's kind of a metaphor for me, for mental health especially, in that I've warmed up to the idea that it's cyclical and that, it's not a means to an end. You don't just get sick and feel sad and then fix it and then feel better and then that's it. That's life. You did it. Well done. Gold star, participation award. You're finished. The beauty of it is that every time I get sad, I come out knowing so much more about myself and so much more about my experience.
Yeah, and so it's almost like a linear graph going up and down, but slowly going up a little bit higher and higher. But it also dips and goes back down. And from what you said, maybe in the past it was more of a binary thing. It was like I've either got bad mental health or I've got good mental health, and kind of, I guess, breaking that away and learning that it's more of a journey. Yeah.
So are you saying, am I picking up that you almost enjoy that experience?
Oh, I mean, I think I have there's a sick enjoyment of the sad that's just like, oh, I'm a victim to the situation. I think that's normal. I don't think there's any shame in that. But I think I enjoy the fact that when I'm good and it's fun, that the parts of me that I'm not maybe looking at or that I'm missing because I'm not very connected to myself. Maybe I'm out and I'm socializing a lot more and all of my energy is outward, and I kind of start missing those little bits of self-reflection. I'm like, winter's coming. I'll get there. I'm going to learn a bunch more. I will be sad again. And that's beautiful. And that means that when I'm sad, I can know that I will be happy again, and that's beautiful. And the point is not fixing it or making anything go away. It's just learning it. Life just teaches you how to live it.
Just embracing it. I actually talk to people about, over many years of counselling and stuff, it's like going into an old familiar room, the room of sadness or trauma or despair, and it's like, oh, here we are. We're back in the room. There's my old couch.
Old friend.
There's my old couch that I've spent a bit of time on in the past, and you know that you are going to be stuck in that room for a while, but it's almost like you become comfortable instead of hating it. Just go, right, we have ripped a bit of gold out of this room in the past.
Yeah, it gives you tools.
Yeah, and it's like,
and it's
bunking in.
There's the beauty there's beauty in suffering sometimes.
Yeah.
And beauty in the discovery and that darkness. I know for me, I guess, being in a bit of a dark space recently and kind of picking up the journal again and just really exploring why I've kind of fallen back down again when I knew all the tools and right things that I should have done, and kind of just sitting in that and exploring that room. It's just been really nice. Yeah.
Yeah. When I write, because I journal as well. Do you journal?
I write songs.
Oh yeah.
So
Same thing.
That's my journaling. But I do a bit of journaling, but mostly it's writing songs.
I got to monetize my journal somehow.
Yeah, it's all about making money off your mental health. That's what I've realized makes it better.
I've got to. I find that sometimes I write. Oh, here we are. I'm back again. Something like that. It's here we go again. But it is. I think it's like you said. Yeah, it's hacking through the undergrowth and finding stuff that's worthwhile, even though that's an awful place to be.
It's awful. Like, I'm not saying you should enjoy feeling mentally unwell. I think it's never going to be the same.
Yeah.
Every single time even though it feels the same, you're learning a different thing every time you come out with, even if you come out with one more tool.
Yeah, that's good.
The joy that tool might grant you the access to is invaluable. It's invaluable. No, it's valuable actually.
Yeah.
Well, what I find as well is sometimes you can actually go backwards in your mental health story and discoveries. Last year we spent probably 1 year writing our own self-reflection discovery journal with 250 different questions in it. And in that time I was, doing quite well. And just jumping back into the last few months, I've picked up the sample journal we just got back before we go into main production. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go through this journal and answer these questions that, we wrote the year before. And it feels extremely strange because I'm pretty much been counseling myself from this old experience, from this old journal, and I'm learning about these moments that I was in almost a year ago, and I feel like I'm kind of being mentored by myself.
That's
the last year.
Do you get that with songs, Banjo?
I do, yeah. I actually find that performing live really gives that to me, because a song can kind of, I don't know, I can not be in the part of my life that I was when I wrote the song, and I can rehearse it and be like, what am I even talking about? Like, this is there one so
particular song that really stands out to you in that space?
Oh, fantastic question.
As you sit back and you go, I remember that, and that was a big signpost for me.
Yeah, I have a song on my first EP called Vines, actually, about this feeling of just being like, that feeling of like marinating in the sad, and just being like, I'm tired, and I kind of like the drama of this space, and I don't want to learn how to cook or like start reading or go for a run. I am here and I'm tired, and you can't stop telling me that I'm not allowed to be here, because this is where it's very teen angst, but every time I play it, I'm like, God, it felt so real.
We'll leave it called Vines, wasn't it?
Yeah, you can write that down.
We'll leave it in the show notes for everyone.
It's going to go off.
I just want to rewind a little bit about, I guess, your cyclical journey. And one thing you mentioned before was when you're in this, I guess, let's call it the high or the good stage, you'd kind of just let yourself taper off and know that you're going to hit the darkness. When you're in these really good spaces, what's stopping you from, I guess, keeping preventative strategies in place to protect you from going into that?
That's a really incredible question. I think sometimes I just get swept away in something, whether it's being swept away in falling in love with someone, or it's being swept away in wanting to be hanging out with people all the time. I just want to see people, and it feels so good, and I just want that.
So would you call it more of a conscious decision or a subconscious decision?
It's subconscious for sure. Like, I'm never happy and going like, I don't want to be happy. I don't want to stay like this. I want to get sad again soon. But I just life is life. I think that railing against the idea that you're going to feel bad or that it's going to be hard, it's it's obviously pointless. It will feel bad. There will be moments where it's hard. That's okay. Like, no decision that you make is going to prevent that. You cannot outsmart that. So better to enjoy what you're doing when you're doing it than try to be outsmarting it and stressing about being 7 moves ahead so that you can feel good all the time.
Yeah.
You spend your whole time being stressed.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Can I give you guys some bad news?
Oh, no.
I turned 50 last week. And
Fantastic
can I tell you?
news.
Still got a head of hair, everyone.
Feeling good all the time is not what happens as you get older. I've learnt to appreciate being happy with just being normal or ordinary, because often you can be disappointed by, it could be things happening around you or things that have happened to you or your health or just something that you can't control, and it can do your head in. You tend to see a bit more. And I think that's like, it's very true. Like, you got to get okay with sometimes not being okay because.
So what's not been okay in your life recently?
My son sometimes.
I'll
Put him on the spot here.
I think having to learn what I'm a management consultant, and having to teach people things that are very difficult, and having to learn that yourself is one of the challenges I have as well. So when I train people, I generally train out of something that I'm going through or I've learnt, and that's sometimes a painful thing. So I don't try and disconnect myself by just training with some rubbish that's come off the internet or some of my management books. You know what I mean? It's more life experience and industry trends.
So, dredging up traumas and expressing that through your training. Is that what you're saying?
No.
Hobbies include dredging up trauma.
He's really trying to help my business. Thanks, mate. No, but it's being, I guess, like what you do is you sing out of your heart and your journey and stuff like that. And I've learnt a lot of things by journeying with people through mental health, trauma, management stuff, and I try and put the realism into it. Have I just dribbled crap?
I did ask you what's something you've been struggling with recently.
I'm not going to return the favour.
Okay.
But maybe next interview. Okay, so the last one, selfish about loving yourself first. That's an interesting one.
Yeah, that one makes me sound like a bad person.
No,
done very well so far.
Amazing save by me. Okay. I truly, truly believe at this point in my life that the most kind, beautiful, loving thing that you can do for the people that you love is be so incredibly militant almost about loving and taking care of yourself first. First of all, because the people that you love want you to be taken care of by the one person that you spend your whole life with, yourself.
Yeah.
That's what they want for you if they love you. And secondly, because nobody wants your resentment-ridden, dutiful love. No one wants
Dutiful love. That's got to be a song.
I'll be actually going home and writing that stuff.
Make sure you mention
Dutiful
Steve
love,
Bradford.
feet 20 talk.
I love that. That sounds awesome. Dutiful. Yeah, that's good.
I think it never feels good when someone's kind of trying to give you support and they're drained emotionally or they're at capacity with what they can give, and you can just sense that. And I only know this feeling because I do it all of the time, and I'm still bad at kind of calling it early enough to go, oh no, I don't have this for you right now. And everyone should have, if you're lucky enough, you can have multiple people in your life that you can go to for support. One person, it's not ideal. It's not ideal. Like, I should be able to say to a friend, hey, I can't have this conversation with you right now. I'm so tired and I want to be spending some time with myself or some time with my mum or some time with my partner.
Yeah.
Can you go talk to so-and-so about it and maybe we can have a coffee about it next week? I'll check back in. That is I've had friends say things along those lines to me, and I just am like, thank you.
Yeah.
That's so honest and so beautiful and so clean, and you're not tasking me with the duty of making you okay, and vice versa. That's so beautiful. I love that.
It sounds like a really good example of self-leadership and, maintaining your own personal mental health. Has there been an experience probably in the last 12 months where you've, put someone else first instead of your own, I guess, mental health? Is there anything you want to talk about with no identifying features?
I'll be giving first name, last name, Instagram handle, actually. No, I won't. No, not in a way that there was any. I think the situation I got myself into in a relationship in my life is just due to I'm just young and I'm still figuring out how to find where the edges of myself are and find out how to solidify them. And I think being in love is a really great space to learn that in, because you just want to disintegrate all of the edges of yourself and literally like weld yourself to another person. And you do for a bit, and it feels amazing for a bit. And that's a gift that you get so many tools from. And I think I did that. But I just ended up feeling like I literally could not see the edges of myself. I couldn't see myself in the mirror. I couldn't find myself anywhere, and I didn't know where to find it. I didn't have a gym, or I didn't have, I wasn't writing songs. There was no place that I could call on that. And it wasn't fair for me, but it really wasn't fair for her. I mean, you find yourself resenting this person because everything that you're doing is based off kind of pivoting around how they feel, because you've forfeited your feelings for this other person's solar system. And then you just like, what do you want to have for dinner? Oh, I want sushi. Oh yeah, cool, we'll have sushi. You're eating sushi. You don't feel like sushi. You're pissed off at your partner because you're eating sushi now and you wanted Thai food. It's like, grow up. Be a person and make your own decisions. But it's a muscle to learn to figure out what you want, when you want it, how to ask for it, how to feel it in yourself, how to know when to compromise it. Like, that's a very, very fine line to walk, and I'm definitely still learning to walk it. Definitely.
I guess you got to be responsible for loving yourself instead of expecting everyone else to do that for you.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be constantly disappointed when people don't do it for you.
Exactly.
Yeah. I always feel like when there's two people like leaning on each other, they're just codependent on each other. They're not out in the world experiencing, learning new things, having their own direction. And when you're leaning like that, the water becomes stale. But when there's two people in these separate channels experiencing the world, there's way more like creative friction you can bring to the relationship, because you can take in these new things that you're experiencing and build on the relationship to a much higher level than you've had that before. So.
God, I love an aquatic metaphor. That scratched an itch. That was incredible. I'm going to use that for sure.
Yeah. Well, Banjo, thanks very much for coming in today. We've come to the end, but it's been really cool. I love your titles, and it's just really good to hear you just being so open and honest. And I'm really looking forward to listening to more of your music as well. I've had a little bit, but we actually we dialed up a song before you came in. And you had a little listen.
It's hugely danceable too.
So thank you for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me, both of you.
It. And remember to like, comment, and subscribe. That's something people do, right?
Thank you.
Yeah, bye.
See you later.